Is the hype real? You better believe it. This is Putty by Verdant. This is the brand new release for this year, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing Putty. Now this beer is, every year it's hyped up. Last year there was a massive hype. I had it for the first time. January every year, Verdant decided make Putty. It's exactly the same hops, pretty much the same recipe. But obviously whether it changes or not, it depends on, I don't know, the water, the weather, whatever. But it's a Galaxy, Azacca and Mosaic, and it is a double IPA at 8%. So let's see if this Putty can be as good as it was last year. I mean, last year I looked at my score, it was sort of high 70s. It was okay. It certainly wasn't the best beer that I ever had last year, and definitely wasn't even the best Verdant beer that I had. But it's a good beer, and as I say, a lot of the time it is a little overhyped. So you're always going to be disappointed by it. But if it probably wasn't hyped, you'd probably rate it better. But look at the colour of that. That is like pure orange juice. It's absolutely golden in colour. Absolutely beautiful looking. We've literally got, I'd say, one finger of head there, just off white, very compacted. You can see straight away that there's very little movement in terms of carbonation. And straight away, the room is smelt with really nice tropical sort of aromas. Big hits of mango. There's pineapple in here. There is a slight savoury note, a little bit of that sort of slight vegetable sort of aroma, which Verdant beers can be quite well known for. Yeah, it's got that little bit of sort of spring onion in there, but we've had that in IPAs from them. We've had it in double IPAs. It's a very sort of common thing. But it's a little bit sweaty, it's a little bit dank, and it's certainly got this sort of, I suppose the vegetable bit is almost getting to a grassiness, but certainly the colour of that is just, if you didn't know, you'd say that's the closest thing to orange juice. Absolutely golden orange there. So let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Here's to Putty 22. Difficult to compare it to last year because there's been so many beers since that one up until today. But it's a nice, thick, juicy sort of beer. Big mango flavour. There's that sort of grassy, slightly sweaty, you get a bit of lychee, a bit of sort of grapefruit in there, a little bit of bitterness. But certainly it does not drink like an 8% beer. It's not dissimilar to many of their sort of IPAs. In terms of the body, I would say it's medium. It's not overly thick, but it's certainly not light. As I said before, carbonation is literally non-existent. It's nice and creamy and really fruity. Really sort of mangoes and peaches and all those sort of stone fruit goodness. And it's got this real sort of almost chewy sort of element to it. I think last year, again, I look back at my video and I was watching that and I was thinking, similar. I probably hadn't drank that many double IPAs. Honestly, I've drank loads since then, but I feel like I've got a better grasp on it. It's a good double IPA. Is it the best double IPA? I don't think so. I think the one thing about it is that it's very fresh. So this beer was canned on the 17th. It's the 30th, something today. Yeah, so it's less than 2 weeks old. It tastes fresh. There's this sort of, I suppose it's almost a little bit like lemongrass, that sort of grassiness about it, the greenness about it, the newness and freshness of it. But there's lots of mango in there. But I'm not getting any hop burn at all. I'm not really tasting the alcohol. Yes, I mean, because of the sort of strength and the sort of real sort of strong flavour, you know you're drinking a double IPA opposed to a normal IPA. But it doesn't get to the point where you think, oh yeah, this is too strong for me. It just tastes like pure juice. It looks like pure juice. The big question is it worth the hype? I'd have to say no, it's not. I mean, it wasn't last year. It's a very good double IPA. But, you know, I've had really good double IPAs that are not got no hype on them from Polly's. I've had really good ones from Verdant as well, and other breweries as well. I mean, there's a lot of good double IPAs out there. If anything, you see more double IPAs these days than you ever did. Yeah. There's a real sort of dry bitterness as well on the back end. It's quite dry in terms of the sort of the aftertaste, really. Grapefruit is just sort of in there a little bit, but I wouldn't even go to the point of bitterness. It just gives a little bit of a sort of sharp edge on the back end. It's not a bad beer. It's not worth the hype, but it's still good. I mean, this is a bit expensive as well. So let's get some scores and see how it rates. Okay, the scores are in for Putty by Verdant, and this is a double IPA, brand new beer, just come out. I mean, it's brand new, but the recipe is, I mean, I don't know how long they've been brewing this, for a good number of years, and the recipe doesn't change. Azacca and Galaxy and Mosaic, and when you think about it, it's got, you know, you can tell it's got those sort of hops in it. You're getting all the sort of flavours and characteristics from that. Maybe the sort of light, more sort of tropical citrusy from Azacca is not really as seen as much. I really like Azacca, but I do like it more in pales and IPAs because it just gives a little bit more of a sort of brighter taste. But this is an 8% beer, 440ml can. Nice looking artwork as well. They change the artwork every year. Yeah, let's go through the scores. So firstly, aroma. Well, I mean, double IPAs usually have a nice strong aroma, and this is no different. As soon as you pop the can, the room is filled with this big tropical sort of aroma, and it's mainly mango. Mango, peaches, a little bit of apricot, all the stone fruits, really. You're not picking up anything else. The only other thing you're sort of picking up is a slight sort of vegetable, sort of spring onion sort of aroma, which, you know, again, it can be common. It's certainly more common with Verdant than it is with other breweries, but again, it's common as well with double IPAs. This is a very fresh beer, so you're going to get a little bit of that. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in there. It's got that characteristics. I mean, I've had a few. I remember the one Sniffing the Wrong People by Verdant as well, and that smelt really vegetable-y, even more so than this. But it's definitely got that Verdant sort of whiff to it, sort of thing. But it smells, certainly the tropicalness smells good, and it's inviting, you want to drink it. So I'm going at 14 for aroma. Appearance, well, I think the colour-wise, I think it looks better than it did last year. It is so orange. It's got this, you know, it's custardy orange. It's got little head. We've got a little with no head there remaining, and there's not much in the way of lace in the glass. When I poured it last year, I sort of had this huge, massive head, but not this year. And it's, you know, I just think the colour-wise, it looks good, and I think it looks brighter and a little bit more inviting than last year. So I'm giving it 9 for appearance. Flavour-wise, it's a very good double IPA. And it's good because you don't get any of the hot burn, you don't get any of that real alcohol flavour. The flavour itself is very sort of big on the mango and apricot and peach, those stone fruits. A little bit of grapefruit on the back end. I wouldn't say there's much though, it's a bit... You're getting all this sort of sweaty, ripened fruit of, you know, the stone fruits. And then it's sort of, there isn't really a back end. There's a slight dry bitterness on the back end, I would say. You're getting a little bit of that sort of spring onion flavour in there as well. but it doesn't, it's not too strong that it sort of deviates from that sort of real juicy flavour. And in terms of, I mean, it's I wouldn't call it creamy, but it's definitely soft, no carbonation. I don't say low levels of carbonation, which I usually say is there's literally no carbonation in it at all. But I wouldn't say it was really thick. I've had a lot thicker in terms of double IPAs, but it's not light either. So it's a medium body with pretty much no carbonation. It's certainly smooth, you know, to drink. And I think it's pretty good. For me, what makes a double IPA better than others is if you're not getting that alcohol or hop burn, which can be quite common with a lot of double IPAs. You're not getting that at all, even though this is less than 2 weeks old, really fresh. But it tastes pretty good and not so, I wouldn't say as green as sometimes it can when it's that fresh. There is that slight grassiness in there as well, that sort of lemongrass really. But I think that really gives it a bit more sort of robustness in the flavour. I'm giving it 35. I think it's a very good double IPA. Is it the best double IPA I've had? I don't think it is, but it's still a very good one. So 35 for flavour. Value for money. Well, anything that's hyped up like this, which is hard to come by, and it is, you know, you could be looking to buy it from, you know, from other bottle shops, and you know they'll say, oh, you can only buy one per customer, and it goes really quickly because obviously it's a sort of very short run of in terms of the beer run. There's only so many cans that make it. That's it. They don't rebrew it again until next year, basically. So that gets the prices up, and I paid nearly $7. I think it was $6.95, something like that, for this beer, which is not. It's not overly expensive. It's not a 9-10 quid beer like from some of the US sort of imports that you can pay, but it's, and for a double IPA, I'd say it's probably maybe £1 more than it should be, or 50p more, but not overly. But you know, still, it's an 8% beer. 7 quid is still quite high. A lot of people would go, I'm not paying anywhere near that. 5 quid is a lot of money for 1 can of beer, but 7 quid is pushing it a bit. So I think it's not, I'm not going to knock it down too low, but it's certainly not going to be high. So I'm giving it a 7 for value, because I think that's fair. It's over. If it wasn't hyped, if it was a Verdant double IPA, you'd probably be paying 50p to £1 less for it, for an 8% sort of beer. So 7 for value. And my overall experience, well, I quite like it actually. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's typically Verdant sort of beer. It's got nice, sweaty, sort of over-ripened fruit in there. The carbonation is just right. I actually made sure that I got this at the right temperature today. Usually, I'm guilty of like, going, I want a beer, pop it out of the fridge and just open it up and drink it, and it's too cold. But this one I've given a good hour out of the fridge, and it's still cool. It's still colder, in fact, but it's at the right sort of temperature, and I'm getting more of those flavours. But look at it. I mean, I've pretty much drank it. It's an 8% beer. It goes down really well. So I think in terms of my overall experience, I'm giving it 14. I'm not a huge fan. I don't really see a lot of the value in double IPAs. I prefer a 6.5% IPA than going into the double, because I want a little bit of refreshment, which double IPAs don't usually give me. But this is a good, nice, easy to drink double IPA. And I'm talking about an 8% beer. I mean, it's so easy to drink, goes down really well, and I think that gives it more points for overall experience. So 14 for overall experience. Tying those scores up, we get 79. That's higher than last year. It probably is pretty much the same beer. If I put it if I had them side by side, you know, I'd probably find it very difficult to tell the difference between them. Again, sometimes it's to do with, like, you know, how I treat them in terms of how I poured it last time was bad. I may have got it out of the fridge earlier, so it was colder, so I didn't get all the flavours from it. It was I did pretty much buy it round about sort of less than 2 weeks after it had been canned in terms of drinking it. So I think that, you know, that would be the similar sort of thing. I think it looks better, and it's just, there's no hot burn, there's no sort of alcohol burn. It doesn't taste overly strong. It's very smooth and goes down well. So it's better than last year, but it's still 79. It's not, you know, a hype beer that's going to be the beer of the year sort of thing. You should be getting in the high 80s, but we're just in the high 70s. 79. It's a White Snake beer, but it's a good White Snake beer. It's a looking for love. It's a crying in the rain. It's the still of the night. But this is a beer you want to slide in slow and easy. So until the next review, hope you've enjoyed this one. This is Putty. But let me know, if you've had Putty, have you got a better memory than me? Did you have it last year? You think this year is better than last year? Or maybe you think, well, actually last year was better. Or maybe you're sort of thinking, oh, back in 2017, and I had the best Putty, and I was in some pub and had it on draft, and it was brilliant. You know, maybe that's the case. Has it deteriorated? I've only had it 2 years, but maybe it's going down every year. But for me, this is better than last year. Certainly, my memory of it, this is a little bit better in my opinion. But I'm interested to know what you think. So why is it that Putty gets so much sort of hype every year? What is it about it? It's a good, but it's not a great. You don't taste it and think, oh my God, this is the nectar of the gods. You don't get that with this. So I think it's just hyped up for the sake of being hyped. And I don't know of any other sort of beer. No other big brewery goes, oh, we're gonna release this beer. It's going to be available for 2 weeks and then it's over, sort of thing. I don't get that with other beers. So maybe they should do that just to build the hype up. But I'm interested to know what you think. Putty, it's a good beer. Is it a great beer? I don't think so. It's a very good one, but not a great one. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Really helps me get more subscribers, more people will view it. You know, it's really good for the channel and more people can see the sort of rubbish that I spout. But until the next one, you know what you got to do. Keep on rocking.